All right, let's call this meeting to order. Roll call.
Board Commissioner Jackson.
Here.
Board Commissioner Williams.
Here.
Board Commissioner Willis.
Here.
Board Commissioner Hutchison.
Here.
Board Commissioner Capizzi.
Here. Any public comment before we start? All right, staff reports, announcements?
Nothing.
Consent agenda.
Okay, this is the consent agenda. Item 1, approve September 19, 2024 CRA meeting minutes, staff representative, city clerk's office. Item 2, approve amended CRA bylaws, policies, and procedures, staff representative, Karen Grooms, city clerk.
Move to approve consent agenda.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Board members, reports or announcements? Okay. New business.
Okay, item 1, request to approve grant funding agreement between the CRA and Cocoa Beach Main Street for $35,000 budgeted. Staff representative, Devin Talley, Director of Grants and Special Projects.
I would like to actually, if you guys wouldn't mind, I'd like to move this to our next CRA meeting, just so that the next people that are going to be on the commission can vote on this, just in case it's not us.
Well, we can discuss it without making a final decision. If you look in the back of the,
This wasn't electronic, this is the first I've seen it, so
yeah,
let me
this
digest this.
here, this package,
Yeah.
if you look at the back page, I asked for the financial disclosure, whatever records they might have. And you can see that their total revenue was $155,000, that their gross profit, well, let's just go with this past year,
In 24,
24.
167.
Yeah, but the year's not over.
Yeah, no,
Okay. And the gross profit is 145. And if you look at the expenditures, you get down to, on the back page, on the back side of the page,
150.
I just want to, total expenditures are 150. But if you look at payroll, wage expenses, for a full year on 2023, it was $58,000. And I don't know who's all included in those wage expenses. I would think it would be probably just the person in charge.
So I spoke with Kenny, and correct me if I'm wrong, Kenny said she pays a accountant $250 a month, and then Kenny gets $65,000 a year.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know, that's correct, right?
Oh, I'll take that one. Yes, but last year and also for.
Can they come up so?
Yeah,
Oh,
she
yeah,
ought to
please,
come up
please
here.
come up.
Oh, yeah, okay, so hi, I'm Lane Alvarez. I am the bookkeeper for Main Street and the treasurer. Both last year and this year, we had run into cash crunches and we had to defer Kenny's pay. That's why you only see 58,000 for 2023 instead of 65. We have since made up that shortfall this year. So she's caught up for last year's pay, but we still have to catch up for this year.
Okay, so when you got net revenue, I'm used to seeing balance sheets that end up with zero, the revenue matches the expenditures. So this kind of says that in 2022, you were $12,816.98 in the hole.
Yes,
Where did the money come from to cover that?
from reserves, prior reserves, I assume.
But you only had $6,886.55 left over from the year before.
Yeah, we had to redo our financials. We had to restart our financials completely from the past bookkeeper. And so all I had to go on was the balance sheet that was there and reconstruct 2023 completely
Right,
and
okay.
2022.
Right, and
So-
Florida statute says you need to put this report out, and I appreciate you doing that.
Yeah,
Okay. So my deal on this is, I was here at the genesis of the Main Street program. And they said, we need $50,000 startup money, okay? And the tenets of the Main Street program, as advertised at the time, were that they would become self-sufficient, so that they didn't need money from the city. And we've been whittling down our budgeted funds for Main Street from $50,000 over the, quite a few years. And the budget right now reflects $15,000 going to Main Street. Okay.
General fund.
And I
Right.
agreed to that.
Yeah, and then we're now putting in a grant, and basically it just says run, that says for projects, which is basically run Main Street, for $35,000. So we're back to our starting seed money of $50,000 a year to run Main Street.
Oh, this is on top of the 15?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's two different buckets of money. They're getting 15 from general fund.
It's on
This is
top of it.
proposing 35 from the CRA fund.
Right.
For
So
a total of
that's-
50 plus
And,
the fire.
and right
business.
now, we have CRA money, and we can spend it on Main Street. And, I don't know how you account for the fact that we give you guys, a room and free rent and electricity and air conditioning.
and we do
On top
about,
of
is
that.
it 36,000 about in police and fire and barricades and all that? On top of that, 36,000
I don't know
on
what
top of
that
that?
value is, but there's in-kind donations.
About roughly? Yeah, so about 5,000 a month for that, so that's 30.
Right, but plus they've got the room there, they still have the room there at the parking garage, right?
Yeah, they get the parking garage for free, they get MOT, in other words, we drag all the barricades, the cones and whatnot for that. They get free fire and police, and they get 12 events free of charge every year.
Okay, but they still have an office on the first
Yes, yes.
floor of the parking garage.
Right.
That isn't really accounted for as a gift.
Do we know how much that is altogether,
Well, if you
approximately?
wanted to rent it to somebody, it
It's
would be
non-
I mean, all
probably
that, the
$1,000 a
MOT.
month, and you got air
That.
conditioning and,
Do you know how much roughly that is, or? Yeah, we'd have to add it up, right? Okay.
but
It's
anyway.
non-zero, let's put it that way,
So,
something.
so my question would be, and doesn't have to be answered tonight, I'd like to see a strategic plan from Main Street for the future on how they can become self-sufficient. Maybe you shop around for some of the things you spend money on and get better prices. Maybe it's closer tracking of your expenditures. I don't know, but, the Main Street tenant, as advertised to me, is the only one that was here at the beginning, was $50,000 worth of seed money, then it whittles off over years, and it goes to zero. And Main Street becomes self-sufficient. There's a line item on here on money that they get from businesses. Where is that? Individual business contributions for 2023 was $27,000. So those businesses are all benefiting from Main Street and from all the hard work of the Main Street people and all the volunteers. And they're kicking in a whole 27,000, and they want us to kick in 50 plus room and board for an office at the parking garage that I think is hardly ever used.
So it sounds like if we were to take a vote tonight, you don't have the vote for this. But what I want to propose is that it goes to the next meeting for December, because we could have 3 new commissioners on this board. So you might have a better chance of getting what you want possibly at a later meeting. And plus, they're going to be the ones that are dealing with it moving forward, the new commissioners. So I would just suggest that we push
Well,
this.
I'd like,
Plan to along with that?
Yeah, bring the plan that Skip is talking about, and then we'll do a vote in the December meeting.
right, so do I have consensus on asking them?
That's, is that 2 meetings from now? Okay, 2 meetings from now.
So do I have consensus to ask them, to work with whoever they have to show us a strategic plan that over X amount of time, that they can get to a self-sufficiency position? Doesn't that make sense? Because that was the tenet.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of main streets that are in the United States of America that are self-sufficient. And I know that that all of them are not. But that's one of the tenets of a main street, is to become self-sufficient.
But pulling on that thread, if we are going to elect to subsidize it to some degree, I want to have a benchmark that we all agree on. Hey, we're going to subsidize 10%. So it's not just an open checkbook per se.
Right.
I agree
And-
100%
and
with the strategic
like I
plan.
said, we went from 50,000, we
Right.
whittled it down, and we got it down to what we voted on for this budget of 15,000, which is whittled down. But now, a grant, because we still have a CRA and they got money and they can give them 35,000, they're back to the original starting point.
Right. So a couple things there. I mean, this seems like it's just making them solvent. If it was for a particular event, it would be a little more palatable. If it's just $35,000 grant to make their books clean, that's where I'm hesitant. And I don't really like, I mean, I love Main Street, what you guys are doing. I think the city needs it. I just don't like the exclusivity of it. Like, it's got a little bit of the Driftwood debacle we just went through.
But it says,
It's not an open application for anybody to apply for this grant.
it says the purpose of this grant is for the CRA to implement a Cocoa Beach Main Street program project as described in section 2 of this agreement. And then when you go to section 2 of the agreement,
Yeah, I read it. That's
it
okay.
says they perform the following services: physical community engagement efforts consistent with the statutes. Work with the CRA to promote activities of community engagement. It's not like there's a project like they want to build something or do
Right.
something.
That's my concern
It's just
with it.
basically, the project is run Main
Sustain
Street.
overhead, yeah.
Run Main Street.
Right.
That's the project.
And that's where I was.
And
gonna
usually you
question.
give grants to something that you're going to get
Surf and center.
receipts back from that say, hey, we did the project, here's the receipts for the project, give us our matching funds.
Anybody else?
So I'm not going to support it without some kind of strategic plan that says, this is how we're going to get to net zero requirements from the city.
Can I just follow up with a comment regarding when Main Street first came
Absolutely.
10 years ago? And they came from Tallahassee and interviewed Cocoa Beach. I was on that very beginning part also. And yes, it was proposed that the city, donate $50,000 and then for Main Street to get on their feet. Main Street was newly being recognized throughout the nation and Florida at that, or, yeah, the state of Florida at that time. Since then, Main Streets are presenting a little different outlook for the cities because they realize that Main Street is an integral part of the cities and what happens with the cities. Main Street provides things that the city is not necessarily capable of doing because they don't have the staff. There's some executive directors of Main Streets that are actually city employees, that their job is to oversee the Main Streets. They work very closely with the CRAs. There's little tiny towns with, 2,000 people in them, and they either are part of the chamber and get paid through the chamber or CRA fund or something with the city. So it's not for the lack of trying that we haven't, tried to raise the money, that we don't have to ask the city. More than anything, I would love to come in here and say, we are so solvent and we have some benefactors and we have all these donations and sponsors. I would love to present that report to you, but it's just not factual here in Cocoa Beach. For whatever reason, people don't understand Main Street. They don't understand what we bring to town and what we are about. And I'm not really sure if you guys know, So I don't know how to answer you with a strategic plan. We try, but it is with donations. Our Friday Fest, we net
$2,000?
$2,000.
Okay, let me interject, if you will. So, you net $2,000. When I go to Friday Fest, every bar on that street is shoulder-to-shoulder capacity, which probably wouldn't be that way if you weren't having a Friday Fest, okay? And the grand total of their contributions for a whole year is $27,000.
That's not, I don't think that's current. We don't get that from the businesses now. do we?
It says individual and business contributions.
That includes just regular people too, because we do occasionally
Well,
just
I'm
have
just saying,
random people
those
donate.
businesses are making, let's say they making an extra $100,000 in a year, easy, from the Friday Fest, and having packed house at $7 a drink and $4 a beer. You might want to, as part of your strategic plan, say,
Trust me.
we need
Yeah.
you guys to chip in or we're going to fold.
So
And you're
when-
not going to have Friday Fest and you're not going to make that extra $100,000 a year.
So
from
when
having
their
Friday Fest.
response is, they're gonna come here, and our annual membership is $300. And we struggle to get that from businesses.
Well, then they're raping you.
I agree, we do a lot of work and provide a lot of services for them. And some of them are on board wholeheartedly and really support us. And others sit back and go, we're gonna get the business anyway, so why do I have
Okay.
to? So there's,
A
it's.
ho-hum night at Coconuts or one of the bars is a lot less money than a full packed house during a Friday Fest.
I
Perhaps
get it.
if we had some people from the city go with Kenny when Kenny goes to talk to them, maybe that would help underscore the importance of Main Street funding and trying to get it from the
Absolutely.
businesses
Well,
instead
you
of from the
just have some
city.
point blank question. Would you be willing to contribute more, or
Nothing.
are you okay with Main Street just folding no more Friday Fest?
Okay, but we
They'd be
could-
like, oh, that's cutting into our bottom line.
What about your tent, your individual tent areas? What do you, your little,
Vendor booth.
your vendor booths? What do you normally charge for those?
They're $75.
75. Is that low, or could that be?
It's actually a little high.
I
Another
I
thing-
don't think they're gonna get more than that because
No.
Okay.
those people don't make a lot of money. They're
Cape
more there
Canaveral's a
for
lot less.
advertisement than they are for
Yeah.
actually making money. But,
Our space is limited. Like Cocoa Village just had their big thing, and they have 350 vendors. And they do that, 2 or 3 times a year, and that's where they make their money, so.
so I guess the motion is to table this. When do we seat the new commission?
12/5, December 5th.
December, no. Not till December 5th?
Yes,
How come not the first meeting in,
November, because we won't have the election results finalized.
okay, so not till December 5th?
December 5th.
That's firm.
Firm.
Okay.
The supervisor has the.
So Becky, can you get with Kenny and maybe find somebody that understands strategic plans that might be able to give them kind of some guidance without it costing them a fortune?
Sure.
I mean, you know people that do that, right?
I think I could scrounge some up.
Well, I don't want to scrounge someone. Find somebody decent.
Why, you're talking about someone donating their time to do this.
Well, or at a,
I don't think
It
they've got a
shouldn't be
lot
that
of
hard
extra
to-
money to pay. No,
We're very thrifty, by the way. I've been sitting in
Right,
a
but I
storage
mean,
unit for 3 years.
When you're talking about losing $50,000 from the city and not coming up with a strategic plan that's going to get my vote, then you might want to spend a little bit of money.
Right, it's just, there's a limit to how much we actually have in our bank accounts.
Oh.
That's where we run into problems, and that is why unfortunate things happen, like Kenny not getting paid.
Well, Wayne, if you know anybody, yes.
I'm trying to figure out how I want to ask this, but would it help to have someone from city staff kind of help them a little bit, like a liaison between the city and
That
and
would be
just
fine
part-time?
if we have, if the city
I don't
manager
know, is that a good
has
idea?
somebody that
or-
can help.
Look at them, they're going.
They're like, no.
Karen, I would think Karen in conjunction with
Stretch
Patricia,
assignment.
somebody that knows the numbers.
Like, yeah, finances
Better you than
and
me.
like, I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there, I don't know if it's a good idea or not. or-
Is there anything in the,
Oh.
I mean, I know this is a statewide
It's
group.
nationwide.
Okay, nationwide, okay. Do they have people
Sure.
in their headquarters that could help with something like this?
Sure. There's things that, I'm sure there's videos and things like that. But honestly, they suggest, because of our role with the city and what we do for the city, they try to make that partnership, a workable one. So that's the guidelines that they sort of give us.
Okay, so
But
where
there
I'd like
could
to
be-
leave it is, and make a motion to defer this decision to December 5th, after the new commission is seated, and request a strategic plan on how they can get to solvency over X amount of years.
Second.
All right, got a motion and a second. Any public comment on that? All right, all in favor to put it off to the 5th? Aye?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 5-0. I adjourn.